Welcome, dear listeners, to another lecture. I am Professor Alexei, your guide through today's intricate exploration of a man whose life and work have rippled across global finance, politics, and philanthropy. Beside me sits Priyanka, a brilliant doctoral student who joins us as we delve into the biography and influence of George Soros.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here. We're looking at a person whose life really feels, kind of like playing a complex game of chess on a global scale.
Indeed, Priyanka. You see, George Soros is not merely an investor. He's an architect of ideas and change. Born in Budapest in 1930, Soros's life intertwines the calculated precision of finance and the high stakes of political upheaval. To further elaborate, his general theory of reflexivity challenges classical economic principles by arguing that markets are driven as much by the perceptions of participants as by factual analyses. It's crucial to understand this foundation when examining his influence.
Actually, when thinking about the Open Society foundations which he started, they kind of seem like his way of moving pieces on a global chessboard, helping democracy and human rights become more stable players across over 100 countries.
Precisely, Priyanka. Soros's legendary impact spans disciplines, from finance, where his strategic investments echo globally, to philanthropy, where his donations have deeply influenced democratic transformations. And naturally, such influence invites controversy and misinterpretation. In fact, Soros is often vilified by conspiracy theories, many rooted, regrettably, in anti-Semitism. As it were, these unfounded claims obscure not only his actions but also the genuine stakes involved in his work.
Isn't it interesting how defenses against misrepresentations have sort of been a theme in his life? Like his family's name change during the rise of anti-Semitism in Hungary, or the reactions to his financial maneuvers, like on Black Wednesday in 1992.
Yes, indeed. The strategic name change from Schwartz to Soros was an early indicator of the adaptive strategies that would later define his career. Furthermore, what we observe here is his resilience, nurtured from surviving Nazi occupation in 1944, through revolutionary financial acumen that yielded $1 billion during the UK's Black Wednesday, to his philanthropic responses to systemic crises, such as his 2009 donations to Eastern and Central Europe. His life is a testament to a dynamic interplay of adaptation and strategic foresight.
Wow. It kind of makes me wonder how personal experiences shaped his big decisions later.
Certainly. Speaking of personal connections, it is worth noting my own reflections related to the dissolution of the Soviet Union. The Open Society foundations were instrumental in aiding democratic transitions, much like I witnessed in my own region, underscoring the tangible impacts of Soros's interventions.
I often think about the paradox of his influence. How it's celebrated but also criticized, especially when it came to, the Asian financial crisis in 1997. Can we say it really shows how perception and reality can clash?
Yes, Priyanka, this is an insightful observation. During the Asian financial crisis, George Soros was accused of contributing to economic instability through speculative maneuvers. While critics suggested that his actions exacerbated the crisis, Soros has consistently maintained that his investments were transparent, operating within the norms of market dynamics. The controversy underscores a broader theme: how the perceptions of market participants can themselves drive economic outcomes, a core tenet of Soros's reflexivity theory.
In his philanthropy too, I guess there's this balance he aims for between exerting influence and respecting the autonomy of nations he's trying to help.
Indeed, the Open Society foundations have revolutionized philanthropic approaches. By fostering open societies, Soros seeks to empower communities and promote democratic principles. However, this method does invite critique. Some argue about potential overreach, as we consider the ethical parameters of donor influence. It's important to understand these nuances, particularly in how they affect recipient nations' sovereignty and the dynamics of mutual accountability.
And finally, perhaps we should talk about his influence in, US politics. The way he's sort of been a large donor and how that shapes public views.
This brings us to another sensitive intersection of money, influence, and ideals. Soros's financial contributions to political campaigns, especially noted in recent years, foster dialogue about the balance between supporting democratic principles and the implications for political sovereignty. Such donations are subjected to public scrutiny, prompting significant debate about transparency and the concentration of financial power in political spheres. Recognizing the multifaceted nature of these interactions encourages more transparent discussions on political ethics and the appropriate role of finance in democracy governance.
I think these insights really show how complex his life and work are, and how important these conversations continue to be.
In conclusion, dear listeners, George Soros remains a multidimensional figure, a reflection of the intricate entanglements between market dynamics, philanthropy, and political activism. His theory of reflexivity, his strategic philanthropic undertakings, and his pervasive, albeit controversial, political engagements provide fertile ground for ongoing inquiry. We must continue to explore his work to understand the past and anticipate future global economic and political changes. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. May our discussion inspire further reflection and study.
Thank you, Professor Alexei, and thank you to everyone listening. I'm grateful to have been part of this enlightening conversation. Please keep learning, and we'll see you next time.